It's Friday, August 2, 2019, and this is Globespan 24x7 News. My name is Samuel Suknaden, coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. Minibus driver dies, several injured in horrific East Bank Demerara accident. PPP calls on coalition government to address migration issue. PNCR will consider decisions of new GCOM chair, says Dr. Norton. Berbice fire leaves family of five homeless, and wanted bulletin issued for rape and murder suspects. We begin tonight's news by telling you that a fire completely destroyed a two-story house at Tain Berbice, leaving five people homeless. The fire, which started approximately 11 hours 30 today, is believed to be electrical in origin. The home was occupied by five people, including three children, ages 2, 3, and 8 months old. The community has been experiencing severe power shortages recently, including fluctuating voltage. Residents vented their frustration over the late response by the Guyana Fire Service. They noted that several calls were made to the fire service, but they responded when the house was already destroyed. The affected family is now contemplating their next move. Persons who would like to assist can make contact with them on telephone number 592-662-7553. A minibus driver was killed and several persons severely injured in a two-vehicle accident involving a Route 42 minibus and a pickup early this morning at New Hope East Bank, Demerara. More details in this report.
It was a horrific scene this morning at New Hope East Bank Demerara Public Road as several people were pulled out of a badly damaged minibus. Some had injuries to the face and other parts of their bodies, while one woman was seen with two broken limbs laying on the side of the road. This was as a result of a horrific accident which occurred at around 6 hours 45 today. Police Public Relations Officer Superintendent Jairam Ramlakan said the accident involved motor pickup GRR 1909 and minibus BWW 2940. The police official said the pickup was driven by a 45-year-old resident of northeast Lusignan on the east coast of Demerara. His name was not released. Meanwhile, the minibus was driven by Oswald Roberts, 59, of Lot 489 Kurukururu, Suzaik Linden Highway. Reports are that the pickup was proceeding south along the eastern carriageway of the road at a fast rate of speed when the driver lost control of the vehicle and started to swerve from east to west across the road into the path of the minibus. The minibus was proceeding north along the western side of the road and collided head-on. As a result of the collision, both vehicles were extensively damaged. Both drivers, occupant and passengers of the minibus and motor pickup were picked up in conscious and semi-conscious conditions and taken to the Diamond Diagnostic Center. They were seen and examined by doctors on duty, where the driver of the minibus, Roberts, was pronounced dead on arrival. Over 10 passengers, mostly from Kurukururu, Suzaik Linden Highway, were all seen and examined by doctors on duty and transferred to the Georgetown Public Hospital for further treatment to undergo medical surgery. The driver of the pickup and occupant Ashley Prasad of Lusignan on the east coast of Demerara were also examined at the hospital. They later took self-discharge and proceeded to the Mercy Hospital, where they were further seen and examined by doctors on duty and admitted patients suffering from abdominal trauma and a fractured right arm, respectively. Eyewitnesses claimed that the driver was under the influence of alcohol. The police are investigating. For Globespan 24/7 News, I'm Samuel Suknaden.
What an unfortunate incident there. We continue tonight's news by telling you that wanted bulletins were issued by the Ghana Police Force for 4 men in connection with murder and rape. Farouk Khan, 24, of Baidarbo Road, Bartika, is wanted for the murder of Perion Bob, which occurred on April 21, 2019 at Kurubran. Dillian Fitzgerald Baston, 27, of Central Amelia's Ward, Linden, is wanted for the offense of rape. November 14, 2018 at South Amelia's Ward, Linden. Another man, Carlos Hackett, is wanted for raping a child under the age of 16, which police say occurred between June 1 to 30, 2017 at Wisma Scheme, Linden, while Winston Rodney, known as Skinny, 35, of Pomeroon, is wanted also for raping a child under the age of 16 between July 1 and 31, 2019 at Lamp Island, Kokwani, Upper Berbice. Authorities advises that anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of these suspects is asked to contact the police on telephone numbers 911 or the nearest police station. All information will be treated with the strictest confidence. The Ghana Geology and Mines Commission, GGMC, has announced that gold declarations at the end of July 2019 stood at 400,000 ounces. The GGMC said in a statement, this is an increase from the same period in 2018 and represents an approximate average of 55,000 ounces per month. The disclosure was made by Minister of Natural Resources, Raffle Trotman, on Wednesday as he joined the board members and staff of the GGMC to celebrate its 40th anniversary. The gold board is targeting 651,000 ounces of gold for declaration this year. At the end of 2018, total declarations from all sources amount to 613.73 ounces, which was 6.22% lower than the figures from 2017. The People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, has described the newly appointed GCOM chairwoman, retired Justice Claudette Singh, as fit and proper, saying that they welcome the decision taken by President David Granger to name her the new GCOM chair and will consider her decisions. The details in this story.
The appointment of Justice Claudette Singh means that the Elections Commission has a chairperson again. It is properly constituted and can continue to prepare for the conduct of free, fair, timely, and credible elections.
That was PNCR Executive and Minister of Social Cohesion, Dr. George Norton, speaking at a press conference held earlier today. Justice Singh was selected by President David Granger from a list of 6 persons submitted by opposition leader Barra Jagdeo. Asked whether the PNCR will adhere to the decision by the new GCOM chairperson, Dr. Norton said his party will consider it.
That is, the PNCR and the AFC has demonstrated to all and sundry that it's a law-abiding coalition, and we will certainly take into consideration decisions that is made by a commission, the chairman of the commission that we supported.
Justice Singh will have to decide whether or not to continue with the ongoing house-to-house registration or to stop it altogether. The opposition PPP has been calling for the current voters list to be used in the next election, arguing that the current house-to-house registration will delay the holding of election. The party is also arguing that the house-to-house registration process is not in keeping with the recent CCJ ruling, therefore calling for a continuous registration process to be conducted instead. The government, on the other hand, said it wants the current process to continue because it feels that this is the only way that will guarantee that the list is clean. The new GCOM chairperson has met with teams appointed by both government and the opposition to sit on the commission separately. A decision on the way forward is still to be decided by Justice Singh, who only assumed her role officially on Tuesday. For Globespan 24x7 News, I'm Samuel Suknandan.
The People's Progressive Party Civic, PPPC, has openly condemned what they described as appalling statements made by 2 senior APNU-AFC coalition government officials, which is relative to the daily disclosures about thousands of foreign nationals entering Guyana with no record of them leaving. Just recently, Minister of Citizenship Winston Felix has been quoted as saying that he believes that the Haitians are using Guyana as a stepping stone to other countries, including Brazil, Suriname, and French Guyana. Bashing the minister, the opposition said, "It is alarming that this is the position of a minister who should be concerned with the correlated issue of national security and human trafficking." The PPP, in its statement, claimed that there is a massive people smuggling racket and inaction cannot be the order of the day, an issue that was raised a year ago and the government has refused to address it. The statement added. Further, the party is primarily worried that these foreign nationals are being issued with Guyanese documents, which would allow them to be registered as eligible Guyanese voters in the ongoing house-to-house registration being conducted by the Guyana Elections Commission. The party calls on President David Granger to abandon what they say, and I quote, his unusual posture of silence in the face of the scandals embroiling his administration and address this matter with urgency, end quote. As Ghana prepares to earn a lot more than its current gross domestic product GDP from oil exploration activities starting next year, the President David Granger is already making a commitment to use some of those revenues to spend in investing in the country's education system. Guyana must be most educated in the Caribbean, he said. We find out more in this Kippany Jordan report.
The head of state stressed on using the resources from the much anticipated 2020 economic boom to fund tuition-free education from nursery to tertiary.
My brothers and sisters, every citizen, every Guyanese has a right to education. This is a basic entitlement of all of us, all of our children. Free education is an entitlement mandated by our Constitution.
This address was made as the head of state reminded that our ancestors, even though illiterate, made sure they built schools and churches to ensure young people were educated. The president, at the time, was addressing the gathering in Berbice for emancipation celebrations. His comments come at a time when there is a heated debate over tuition-free education at the University of Guyana. In the laws of Guyana, Article 27 of the Constitution states, every citizen has the right to free education from nursery to university, as well as non-formal places where opportunities are provided for education and training. The president highlighted that with the expected petroleum revenue, this right will be restored.
In every school, we must pay more attention to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, alongside the humanities. There will always be need for people who like to sing and dance. But to develop our resources, we also need botanists and engineers. We need architects. We need mathematicians. We need to develop a knowledge-based society.
For Globespan 24x7 News, Kippany Jordan.
Thanks, Kippany. The Ghana Poultry Producers Association said the current chicken shortage being experienced in the country may have been as a consequence of chicken being smuggled from neighboring Suriname. In a recent statement, the association noted that this started in large quantities in early 2018 because at that time chicken was being imported into the country with a small duty of 5%. This contributed to a surplus of chicken in Ghana because the local poultry farmers could not estimate the amount of smuggled chicken entering the country and continued producing as per normal. According to the association, the surplus lasted from the end of May 2018 to March 2019. But in June 2019, the Surinamese authorities increased their duty on imported chicken from 5% to 40%, which negatively affected the chicken smuggling business. The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, also stepped in with their enforcement campaign, which resulted in large seizures of chicken brought in illegally from across the border. At present, in some cases, chicken has been raised from about $340 per pound to over $400 per pound. Despite the current shortage, the association said supplies would return to normalcy by mid-August. U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil has announced an increase in its estimated gross recoverable resource for the Stabroek Block in Guyana from 5.5 billion to over 6 billion oil equivalent barrels. The company announced that it has funded the Liza Phase 2 development offshore Guyana after it received government and regulatory approvals. Phase 2 startup is expected in mid-2022, producing up to 220,000 barrels of oil per day, while Phase 1 remains on track for first oil by the first quarter of 2020. It estimates it will achieve gross production of over 750,000 barrels per day from the Stabroek Block by 2025. As a result of the collapse of a section of the river sea defense at Maikoni, certain measures have now been put in place to prevent any overtopping or flooding. More in this report.
A steady supply of boulders to reinforce the sea defense has been a major challenge. This is according to Chief Sea Defense Officer Kevin Samad.
The reason for that is because we are still in the May-June rain season. The access dams, they're in these pretty long Orton embankments. I think the shortest access road here is like 2 kilometers. Accessibility right now with truck or tractors has really been difficult. So this is why we have resort to the barging of the rock.
Public Infrastructure Ministry's Chief Sea Defense Officer, Kevin Samad, further explained that the situation is likely to improve given the anticipated end of the rainy season. Further, within a week's time, more boulders are expected to be brought for further reinforcement. The 125-meter breached embankment was reinforced with an additional 1,000 tons of boulders. Engineers from the ministry had laid an initial 2,000 tons of boulders to shore up weakened portions of the coastline in Maikoni. So within the Public Infrastructure Ministry, Jaipal Sharma said there were warning signs of a breach in Danzig before it was reported on July 6.
Which we had warning signs of, but I explained to you the procurement process prevented us from acting immediately. Nevertheless, you saw for yourself the breach was strangled, was sealed, and more works needed to be done. Presently, I estimated the strength to be 75 to 80% integrity. And in addition to that, what we did, the ministry also aided the rice farmers and those other cash crop, those that have pasture land, to empolder the dams.
Reports revealed on Sunday, July 28, that a portion of the Sea Defense earthen embankment in Danzig collapsed, resulting in surrounding agricultural lands being swamped by floodwaters. For Globespan 24x7, Kippany Jordan.
Thanks, Kippany. 4 men imprisoned on narcotic charges were granted presidential pardon on August 1. Michael Gavaya, 23, Joseph Yaw, 54, Andy Roberts, 38, and Robert Backnott, 39, were all released on Freedom Day after being granted a presidential pardon. The Public Security Ministry on July 31 confirmed that the inmates' release were done by virtue of the powers vested in the head of state under Article 188(1) of the Constitution of Guyana. Just a few weeks ago, the government, after extensive discussion, said Cabinet has approved a proposal to remove custodial sentences for persons found to be in possession of 30 grams or less of marijuana, a long-awaited decision for the decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana. They all have served a portion of their sentences and were deemed fit to receive the presidential pardon. The world celebrated 181 years since the abolishment of slavery, and customary to this observance, the African Cultural and Development Organization, ACDA, hosted its annual Emancipation Festival in the National Park, Georgetown, yesterday. We will now take a look at clips from that event.
From Africa to Guyana. Their pageant is slated for the 17th International Cultural.
We will take a short break. Don't go anywhere. Please stay tuned.
We would like to ask all of our faithful viewers to kindly like and follow Globespan 24x7 Facebook page and subscribe to Globespan 24x7 YouTube channel to receive up-to-date notifications of when we are live. Globespan 24x7 has vacancies for full-time positions such as reporters, newscasters, and news editors. Persons serious about joining a new and dynamic news team are asked to send their application to careers@globespantechnology.com. Globespan 24x7 has some exciting news. As of August 10th, the social and community programs will move from Sunday at 12:30 p.m. to Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Don't miss it.
Thanks for staying with us. We'll now take a look at our regional and international news. We start off with our regional news. The International Monetary Fund IMF resident representative Dr. Constant Lokeng Nuana says Jamaica has made tremendous progress over the last 6 years and is now ready to exit its current arrangement with the Washington-based financial institution. Jamaica's current program with the IMF is scheduled to officially end in November. The country will, however, continue to benefit from technical assistance. The IMF official praised the efforts of successive administrations since 2013 in turning the Jamaican economy around and noted that the seamless continuity of the IMF program across administrations. He commended the government for the measures being put in place to ensure that the gains achieved under the economic reform program are preserved. These include work to establish the proposed independent fiscal council to monitor the government's economic program and fiscal rule framework, modernizing the Bank of Jamaica, and putting in place a policy framework for disaster risk financing and macro fiscal capacity. Internationally, Indonesia's authorities have urged people living near the coast to move to high ground after a powerful earthquake off the island of Java. Officials said the quake, estimated by U.S. monitors at magnitude 6.9, had the potential to generate a tsunami. It reportedly struck at a depth of 33 miles at 19:03 hours. Tremors were felt in many cities, including the capital, Jakarta. There were no immediate reports or damage or casualties. Indonesia has a history of devastating earthquakes and tsunamis, with more than 2,000 killed last September on the island of Sulawesi. The Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004 killed 170,000 people on the Indonesian island of Sumatra after a quake of magnitude 9.1. We'll now take a look at sport. Manchester United have reached an agreement to sign England centre-back Harry Maguire from Leicester for £80 million, a world record fee for a defender. The 26-year-old is expected to complete a medical at the club at the weekend. He will become the United's third summer signing following Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James, who arrived from Crystal Palace and Swansea respectively. Maguire made 69 Premier League appearances for Leicester after joining from Hull City in 2017. The deal means Maguire becomes the world's most expensive defender. The Albion Community Centre Cricket Club one-day second division 10-10 competition is scheduled this Sunday at the Albion Community Development Centre, Albion, Quarantine, Berbice. The clubs expected to participate are Firish, Chesney, Jai Hind, Tamarind Root, Belvedere United, Hamid X1 Albion Community Centre, and Kendall's Union Sport Club. The winning team will take home $50,000 and a trophy, while the runner-up will receive $30,000 and a trophy. The grand final will be played on the lights between the respective semi-final winners. According to a release from the club, their primary purpose is to develop and promote the game of cricket for the benefits of its members and citizens of Ghana as a whole. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. Before you go, here's a recap of our major headlines. Minibus driver dies, several injured in horrific East Bank Demerara accident. PPP calls on coalition government to address migration issue. PNCR will consider decisions of new GCOM chair, says Dr. Norton. Berbice fire leaves family of 5 homeless, and wanted bulletin issued for rape and murder suspects. Thank you for watching Globespan 24/7 News. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknandan, the news and technical team, until next time, do have a great evening. Goodbye for now.